What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch the fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Welcome back, Jim, Brother Dave, and Super Dave. What's happening, men?
Good morning, gentlemen.
What's happening, everybody?
Good morning, JFW family.
You guys super pumped?
Absolutely.
Yep. The election was yesterday. We have no idea who won because we're recording this on Monday.
Oh, that's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, we're talking about a time warp.
Right? We're all confused, but can't talk about the election that's already over.
Yeah, so basically, just because of schedule conflicts, we are recording this podcast on Monday the 7th, and it'll be out here on the 9th. So, the day after the election. Brother Dave, who do you think's going to win?
Oh, man. I've just told everybody I'm going to be in the bar Wednesday morning. I'm either going to be celebrating or drowning my sorrows. And
Oh, man.
I don't know.
Well, it's been a good race.
Yeah.
So
You can't say we didn't try. How's
Right.
that, right? The only way to affect change is to try.
Yep. And really, the way to affect change is if you fail the first time, you keep trying,
Absolutely.
because otherwise it won't change.
Absolutely.
So, got to keep plugging away.
We have learned so much this go-round. We now know we have three sides to those trailers.
Well, one thing I am excited about, not excited to pull the Heidi and Joe O'Day stickers off,
Yeah.
but I am excited to get the podcast stickers on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know Ann's been working on, I don't want to call them bumper stickers because they're bigger, tailgate stickers.
Yeah.
They'll be smaller than the Heidi stickers, but bigger than a bumper sticker. And
Right.
it's just going to promote the Channel 23 podcast, which, I mean, really, we're worldwide anyway, so people need to know about us.
Absolutely. So was the passenger side of the trailers? Is that the independent side of the trailer? Is that how that works?
Oh, funny.
No voting. Yeah. Thanks everybody for, being patient with us and not being upset about the stickers. I guess working through this when you say we've learned a lot, Dave, I hope everybody educational wise has learned a lot. I have, the voting process, some of the issues, things like that, what it means to my family, what it means to our families out there and stuff like that, in hopes that no matter how it turns out that we do something good in the country and move forward, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Well, all this talking about voting's got me wanting to pledge my allegiance.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Man, I had to listen to last week's podcast because Dennis got a lot of attention. But anyway, the beginning is just so funny when he just sails right through that Pledge of Allegiance. I was it gave me anxiety. It happened so quick.
I want to write quick, Jim, since we're on the Pledge of Allegiance and talking about the elections. I ran across this weekend, they had it on one of the TV shows of President Lincoln and his second term. He thought he was going to lose. He just felt there was no way he'd let down the people and different stuff like that because of the issues that he wasn't going to be elected. And he writes to his cabinet in a note here, August 1864, that he does not believe he will be reelected. Lincoln continues, "It will be my duty to do so, cooperate with the government," and he crossed out the government and wrote in there, "President-elect, as to save the union between the election and the inauguration, as he will secure his election on such a ground that he cannot possibly save it afterwards." And it's kind of pretty deep, but it's the same turmoil we're in now, that on the grounds that the new president would win, that if he doesn't step in and help him and agree with him and try to move the country forward, that there'll be such a turmoil in between the time he's elected and the inauguration, just like we've been through in the country. So this is something we haven't not been through before, but you'd think we'd be better at it after all these years, over 100 years. We're still talking about the same thing, and
Right.
I've brought that up before, but he was willing to lose and lose graciously and do everything he could for the country to move forward. And I guess that's my thing about just moving forward and helping each other.
Yeah.
You know, give a piece of your puzzle away, and let's see what we can get done around here.
Yeah, that's how you could tell somebody truly has the country's best interest in mind. Like, okay, things didn't swing my way, but I still want to make it better.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So, as a reminder, anything you hear on this podcast today is not the opinion of JFW. It's just the four men in this rooms. Episode 53, 470 downloads. And in all due fairness, I mean, that's a great number, but typically I don't give that number for another 2 days. So it's going to do a little bit better than
I'll
that.
grow a little bit, right, Jim? Yeah.
Maybe it'll hit 500. We're at 19,250 total downloads and 145 followers. The week before, when we had Lauren on, that podcast is at 647 downloads.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Probably be a little bit before that record gets broke.
Yeah.
Unless today's does it. You never know, because we are super interesting. Yep. So we did have a lot of feedback. I will say this is the first podcast where my phone was buzzing off the hook. You know, I got a lot of text messages and calls. And referred to Dennis Lopez. Paco said, that guy's super smart. Good job. Martinez, a.k.a. Chimichanga, a.k.a. Taquito, because he's slim now, he called.
Just call him Tony.
No. He called and wanted to know what truck Dennis drives so he could give him a shout out directly. Like he thought it was that good. Ron Bugler, again, wow. What truck number is Dennis? What a great guy. And then Lauren Nahara, she wrote on our Facebook page, what an awesome guest. So much heart and wisdom. Really enjoyed listening to you, Dennis. And then Daniel Woolsey, if you guys remember Dan Woolsey, he's out was he Florida now, I think, or Georgia? I don't know. Down south somewhere. He said 53 episodes later, rolling strong. So great job, Dennis, for bringing some attention to our podcast. I actually talked to Dennis, and he asked me, he's like, hey, is it normal for people to call afterwards? I guess he was probably getting blown up too. So,
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
he did a great job. Yep. Well, it's time for the Dad Joke Challenge.
Do you know what day chickens hate the most?
I guess not.
Yeah.
The day that they go to the slaughterhouse.
Right?
Friday.
That's as bad as mine, Jim. Since I'll follow that one. How do you find Will Smith in a snowstorm?
Fresh Prince?
Look for the Fresh Prince. You got it, Jim.
Wow, Jam is on it. Well, I've got bad hygiene explained. An accountant, a lawyer, and a cowboy were standing side by side using the urinal. The accountant finished, zipped up, and started washing and literally scrubbing his hands clear up to his elbows. He used about 20 paper towels. Before he finished, he turned to the other two men and commented, I graduated from the University of Michigan, and they taught us to be clean. The lawyer finished, zipped up, quickly wet the tips of his fingers, grabbed one paper towel and commented, I graduated from the University of Colorado. They taught us to be environmentally conscious. The cowboy zipped up, and he was walking out the door and said, I graduated from the University of Nebraska. They taught us not to piss on our hands.
All right. Not bad. Pretty good. So I got.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Isn't there?
Yeah, it's not as funny as it should be.
Right?
I got a good hunt joke for you guys. Guy's walking down the street, and he's accosted by a particular dirty and shabby-looking homeless man who asked him for a couple dollars for dinner. So he took out of his wallet, extracted $20, and asked, if I give you this money, will you buy some beer with it instead of dinner? So the guy says, no, I stopped drinking years ago. He says, will you use it to go fishing instead of buying food? The guy said, no, I don't waste time fishing. I need to spend all my time trying to stay alive. Will you spend this on hunting equipment? The guy asked. Are you nuts? Replied the homeless man. I haven't gone hunting in 20 years. So the guy says, you know what? Instead of giving you money, I'm going to take you home for a shower and a terrific dinner cooked by my wife. The homeless man was shocked. He said, won't your wife be furious with you for doing that? He said, don't worry about that. It's important for her to see what a man looks like after he's given up drinking, fishing, and hunting.
That's good.
So last week we attempted to give away $400, and I think we gave away $300, but only because Veronica and J.R. Sands share the last four of their driver's license number. So J.R. was actually the one that was picked, but Veronica, she got to capitalize on it as well.
I'm just curious whose photo they use.
Right.
That was almost a dad joke, huh, Dave?
Yeah. JR, being the class act that he is, he said, I want to roll my 100 back into the next week podcast. And he wanted me to announce it at the end. I just screwed that up, and we're just going to roll with it. But let's go ahead. So we're going to give away 400 today.
Yeah.
Right? Because we had 2 people claim, 2 people didn't, but Veronica, I don't know. It worked out. We had 3 people claim.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. There you
But
go.
JR gave his back, and
Yep.
Veronica,
Yeah, and then the 2 added this week make
Yep.
it $400. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're spot on. So thanks, JR. Appreciate that, buddy.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody else out there does too. So the first number here, or the first drawing, last 4 digits, 6817. 6817.
And I'm not saying if you didn't roll your money back, you're not a class act. That's just what JR did.
Yeah, and that's not, keep the money or whatever. It's just fun to see it move from week to week. That's the whole thing.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
everybody's at a different time and place, too.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it to be 10 grand.
Somebody's not putting it back.
New employees. We got Jevani Munoz. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
You did say that right.
I've practiced.
I've been
You've-
struggling with it.
You've coached me up on that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fleet, Jevani. But what's cool about that, he's training with Ray Davis, so he's guaranteed to have a good experience.
Yeah.
Guarantee.
Yep. Might have a couple face tattoos when he's done, but hey,
Ray Ray's trainees love him, man. He
Yep.
does a great job with him.
yep, they all work for him after work. Celebrations, anniversaries. Manny V, happy anniversary on November 6th. It was his 2-year anniversary. He's left and came back, but he's been back 2 years this
Nice.
past Sunday.
Nice. Congratulations,
Yep.
Manny.
Yeah,
And
glad to
then-
have you here, Manny.
And then Gene Freeman, he's got a big one coming up. He's got his 4-year anniversary coming up on the 12th.
Congratulations, Gene.
Yeah, way to go, Gene.
Crazy how time flies.
Yep. Birthdays, we got Paco. I'm just saying he's turning 40 tomorrow. So happy 40th, Paco.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Old man.
Buck
Yep.
up.
We don't usually give out ages, but he should be proud. We were just talking about you earlier, Paco. You're looking pretty stout in a good way. If you guys don't recall, his wife was bragging that he was deadlifting 365 pounds. It's a lot of weight. So great job, Paco. You look
Yeah.
good.
Everybody
Nice.
needs, some kind of motivation or motivation,
Right.
notification.
Notification.
Wow. Wait till my closing arguments. You're not going to take that one out, are you, Jim?
I can.
You can just leave it in there. I was going to say the motivation when Lauren's out lifting him, but yeah, I seen him Saturday. He's looking
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's stout.
Yep.
Rock Jr.
Yep. Family birthday celebrations. We also had another birthday on November 6th, and that's going to be Herb Turner's wife, Cheryl. Happy birthday, Cheryl.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
And then let's see, we have Arabelle Calderon turning 1 year old on the 10th.
First birthday.
Happy
Yeah,
first
happy
birthday.
Yeah.
I got to throw one out there, Jim. My grandson, Reese Leonard, is 10 today.
Hey, happy birthday, Reese.
Reese. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Why isn't he on here, Dave?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Did you put him down in family birthday celebration?
That's why he's not on
we
there,
do
Dave.
Grandsons.
No.
Family's family.
Yeah, we have some rules. But
okay.
you actually have some pull because you're on the podcast and you're able to do that.
Well, we got it out there. Happy birthday, Reese.
Yeah,
Happy
we
birthday,
also
Birthday,
Reese.
Reese.
speaking of getting out family members. I know Erica just had a birthday
Yep.
as well.
Yesterday
so
I was going to mention it.
Jim's daughter, Erica. Well, let me not steal your thunder there. Let me finish
No, you're
mine.
good.
Super Dave interrupted me, and now I'm trying to take over your part. So that's what's going on here.
perfect.
By the way, Junior, great name. My daughter's name is Arabella, so pretty close, but I like where you guys' heads were at. Then Alan Martinez, that would be Tony Martinez's son, is turning 11. not Chili Dog. Not Chili Dog.
I just envisioned. I visualized that.
Not Chili Dog. Not allowed him. He may have called him daddy a few times. I don't know. But yeah, his real son, Alan Martinez, turns 11. So
funny.
Happy birthday, Alan.
Happy birthday, Alan.
And then Junior Alvarez turns 2 on 11/11. That's Francisco's son. JR.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday,
2
Junior.
years old. Awesome. Did you want to say anything to Erica, Jim?
Just happy birthday, Erica. Man, I hope you had a great day. I know they were up skiing yesterday, so yeah, I didn't get to see her, but I know she was out doing some fun stuff.
Yeah, I ran into James at church, and he said that there was only 2 runs open, so only 2 lifts,
Oh, okay.
and the lines were like 45 minutes long.
Wow.
And it was dangerous, so they ended up leaving.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah. Now you're in the know.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that because obviously I wasn't.
Shout outs. Linda wanted to give a shout out to everyone on Friday for the weather. With all the accidents, everyone did a great job communicating and helping each other out. The radio was buzzing, and there was a lot of accidents. We had that 100-car, supposedly 100-car pileup on Highway 6 there.
Wow, I didn't hear
You
about
didn't hear
that.
about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah, it was on Fox 31. I didn't count the cars, but it sounded like.
Is
They
the
had-
elevated portion east
Yeah,
of I-25,
yeah.
Jim, where you get off and go east on 6th
Yeah.
Avenue? That whole elevated portion was
Frozen.
just froze.
They had
Wow.
some video. It was just like watching YouTube. I mean,
Yeah.
one car after
Just that
another,
bing,
just
bing, bing thing, huh?
sliding
Yeah.
completely out of control.
I hate those videos, and I watch some pretty gory videos just for whatever reason, right? But
For whatever reason.
Yeah,
well, just to learn about first aid and stuff like that. But when I watch those semis not be able to stop and just
It's the thud.
just killing people,
Yeah.
and killing,
Right.
like it just makes me nauseous.
Yeah, because you know what fear in that person's mind too, because you know they're trying to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, you just out of control. Nothing. You can do nothing about it.
Yeah, and what about the people in the car knowing that, wow, we're going to get hit another 100 times? Do you get out? Do you try to get out and get
Yeah.
pinned between? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Terrible. I don't know. Did you know if there was any fatalities in that accident?
No,
I didn't hear
the
about
most I heard, Jam, is a girl broke her arm.
Okay.
That was there were no fatalities,
Great.
no major injuries. The most I
that's-
heard was a broken
great.
broken arm.
Yeah, sorry for her, but great. Could have been a lot worse for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, yeah.
Linda also wanted to give a shout out, and I'd like to give a shout out to the dispatch crew. Oswaldo's back. Randy and Linda did an amazing job while Oswaldo was gone. I think things were pretty smooth, but I feel like they're pretty relieved to have him back as well.
I bet, yeah.
And it's just nice having Oswaldo back. He brings a little bit extra flavor into dispatch. So
Sure. And I just want to mention, and this is pre-recorded, so hopefully the phone calls will stop. We get the stickers off, that kind of stuff. But Linda didn't take a lot of phone calls, but I know she passed quite a few on. There was a couple of good ones, but she took some phone calls about some people upset about the stickers on the trailers, and she handled them well.
oh
And-
man, she really did.
right? And a couple of them were, she just basically left it with the caller that they're there to spur a conversation.
I love that.
Go vote. And the people were like, they were just so committed that we absolutely had the wrong person. Maybe we do, but we didn't think so.
don't.
You just never know. But as long as you go vote, have that conversation, right?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Isn't it a free country?
Right, Dave? I mean, we joked about a bumper sticker. It's just a big bumper sticker, and I've seen a lot more inappropriate bumper stickers than that on the back of
Yeah.
a trailer.
You're right though. Linda was a champion. I heard things like she would say, "Well, if you don't like Heidi, you don't have to vote for her. You can vote for whoever you want."
Yeah.
Like she was awesome.
Yeah, like we were forcing people to vote for Heidi,
Yeah.
right? It's that, yeah. It's a free country.
Speaking,
Right. They could put a Biden sticker on their car.
Right, yeah,
You
and
see
we-
all of those.
Yeah, and I don't call them. I don't
Shoot,
like.
I think I saw a Barack Obama sticker the other day. I was like, take those things off, would you?
Oh, man. So anyway, that was my shout out just for Linda.
Yeah.
Putting up with the craziness around here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, on that subject, so I pay attention to Google reviews, and for the most part, we always have pretty great reviews. We've had some disgruntled employees. We've had a couple, whatever. But we haven't been getting a lot of reviews lately until we had the stickers on, and we caught like some one stars and people threatening not to do business with JFW and all this stuff. So I want to read this review because I thought it was awesome.
It was a good one, Jim. Yeah.
Alex H. wrote, and this is on our Google account, funny how certain people feel to leave negative reviews and claim they will not do business with this company because of the political differences. I am 100% sure the people who are claiming to no longer use JFW services or support them have never or will never use a trucking company in their life. Message to the company, keep doing what you're doing. You have the support of the people who actually need and use your services. So thank you, Alex H., for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, good review. And thank you for taking the time to make a good review.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's important.
I love that because when I see things like that, I want to sound off, but I try to take the high road. Like, of course, somebody from the company, is going to defend the company. Like, it's almost, I'd rather not and just leave it, but to see somebody from the outside step in.
Because that's still their right.
Right.
Yeah, I want to, I don't know if we have it anywhere in the notes, but along with some of the reviews we've gotten and maybe the phone calls and stuff, our license plate, our Idaho license plate's been brought up a couple of times. In fact, Tyler's, my son-in-law's dad made a post, and he was for Heidi, and but the posts from there went from, oh, look at our license plates, and then it was kind of funny. The picture that somebody took was two of our trucks sitting side by side, and of course there was the nasty comment, oh, look at the trucks hogging up both lanes. And then the next comment was, excuse me, one of the trucks is turning right and one of them's going straight. That's a turn lane.
Yeah.
And then the next comment was, there's sand on the road. There must have been somebody spilled sand. Oh, isn't that nice that they can spill that sand all over the road? And like the other comment was, well, that would be right behind them, not on the side of the road.
Right.
And it was just cute. You're talking about the conversations, Jam, and I just want to mention with our license plates, being licensed in Idaho is something that the motor carriers came to us and told us about. It's a program that the state of Idaho started, and their whole point was, why don't we let other trucking companies license our plate and take that burden on, and we'll do that for this certain price, make them long-term so they never expire, and we can have all that business because it's totally legal to do that. Right. And Idaho, I mean, they make, I'm going to say millions. I know I watched a news interview that one of the states did a deal where they figured they were losing about $250,000 or $300,000 a year to Idaho from not registering in their state. And they're like, but we didn't think of that idea. We didn't offer that, and Idaho does. And one of the complaints that I'm trying to get to is that, they're driving all those Colorado miles. They're all, all this other stuff, and they're registered in Idaho for the trailers. Well, if anybody ever confronts you, any of you guys with that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of knowledge. All the trucks are registered here in Colorado, right? To get that Idaho plate, we still have to title them here in Colorado, so we've paid the licensing fees originally, or the title fees and the sales fees and everything for the trailers. Then the tractors are all licensed here in Colorado, and it is our home base. We could be someplace else and have a home base and be licensed in Nebraska, but you guys, you have to turn in your miles in your states.
Right.
That's where all the money goes.
Right.
So I can't even remember the last amount of miles we ran in Colorado, what it turns out that we turn in, and we pay all our taxes, our fair share of Colorado road taxes we pay every year. I know license plates last year was for the fleet, off the top of my head, I think was just short of $380,000. And so I guess it's the little bit of ignorance when you make a comment, and one thing around here that I really am proud of the steering committee and we've learned it through the safety and all of us try to do is you find out the problem and you hear the problem, but you verify. We did the same thing on Veronica this weekend on the license plate. She called in and me and Jam were like, oh, baloney, baloney. She doesn't have the same license plate, or the license number joking. And I'm like, but let's look. Sure enough, we looked, and what a great problem to have,
right?
But we just didn't go, oh, no way, and tell her she can't have the money or whatever. You got to verify. You look into it before we did between each other and joked about it, and then we called Veronica.
Yeah, I joke with her too, but it was a joke. At the end of the day, she's getting the money because, I mean, really, how cool is it? We know she listens to the podcast,
right?
Yeah, here's your $100.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Does that mean that JR and Veronica got their license like back to back?
No.
You know?
I know you asked what state, right? Same state?
Yep, same state. Yeah, we talked and she was like, oh, my license. I'm like, no way. She's like, no, really? I'm like, what is it? And she told me, I'm like, oh, yeah. That's it for sure.
Yeah, what is there, 4 other digits? It's a 2-digit and then
it's like 3.
3 and a 2, and then the 4.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, the odds of that are pretty slim.
Yeah. But, hey, let's see if it happens again. Speaking of giving away money, should we give away some more money, Jim?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it. I got to get to my list here, Jim. Okay, the next one here is 0783. 0783 is the next winner.
0783. All right.
And I just want to remind everyone that these numbers are computer random generated, right?
Yep.
I mean, Amber pulls the numbers. We tell her how many we need, and she just hits a button, and it just calculates. And
it makes that noise.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Just like your Powerball quick picks.
Yep, exactly.
That's all it is. Yep.
That's why you never win.
100% random from the leader of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is with the lotto, though, Dave, if you don't play, you don't win.
Yep.
All our people are playing.
Did anybody win Saturday?
No. $1.9 billion. It's obviously another record.
Wow.
I'm proud to say Jackie and I won $12.
Sweet.
Nice. Did you roll it back in?
You bet.
Good job, Dave.
That's great. Jim, you want to kick off our discussion? I think the first couple of topics are yours here.
Yeah, if I'm on the right thing here. I guess we can go over, or let's go over, or talk about it. I guess it's because we all sat here in a group and talked about what should we have. But paperwork in your truck. We're going to be running a lot of out of town stuff. We've been running out of town stuff. And I guess when you pull into a port, or even if it's a roadside inspection or anything like that, be prepared, you guys. You're supposed to be checking off on that, all your paperwork and knowing where it's at. And we always run into, somebody didn't have this or somebody didn't have that. And then if you do get pulled into a port or a roadside inspection and you don't have something, or you are confused, call somebody. Call JR, call Scooby, call Jam, call me, call somebody. Let's have a discussion that, hey, maybe we've lost the paperwork, you've lost the paperwork, but hopefully you checked before you left, and that we're all on the same page. So and you guys jump in here and correct me and if I forget something, but to me, to start with, got to have a cab card, right? Registration, truck's got to be valid. We renew through February. We run our 30-day grace period into March there usually, just a heads up, but no matter what, you should have a registration card in your truck that is good to February of 2023. I think it even might say, expires on the 28th or 29th, whatever day there in February.
Spot on.
But, cab card, registration, whatever you want to call it, that's for the tractor. Just to jump ahead, you should have the same kind of registration or some kind of piece of paper in your trailer, okay? That same registration that shows when that trailer, and I'm going to say expires, because those say non-expirational, because those trailer plates don't expire. That's the other good thing about running the Idaho plates. But you need to have a registration for that trailer. Needs to be in the tube in the trailer. And Super Dave loves to bring this up because he used to do all of the trucks by himself. But that registration should not be in the truck. Should not be in the booklet in the truck.
Always leave it in the trailer.
Right? And lately, how many times have we pulled a rock trailer lately, an end dump, powder trailer? So, again, you need to make sure the paperwork is in the trailer, and I'll knock off the trailer paperwork. So registration for the trailer, an insurance card for the trailer, and then, if I'm not skipping ahead, where is the yearly sticker on that trailer? Those are the three things, right, guys, that trailer needs.
FHWA inspection.
Your
annual inspection.
Yeah, annual inspection, which is dated post, right? Or is that pre?
Pre.
Dated pre.
Yes.
So
when you look at it and look at the date on it, it's going to look expired.
It's
right.
the date of the inspection,
Correct.
which is good for 1 year.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. So everything on it should say, I don't know what
21.
it says. 21 right now, right? So however it was inspected, okay?
Yep.
And where is that sticker, Jim?
I have no idea, Jim. I would have, if I went out and drove, I would have to look for it. But
Do we have those stickers?
I hope so. But it should be on the side of the trailer someplace.
Either on the frame of the gym pole.
Exactly. That the shop doesn't put it on the back of the tailgate or on the other side. It's on the driver's side, right?
It's always going to be driver's side front. I know we're joking about it, but it is always going to be driver's side front of the trailer. So basically, you can stand. Our goal in doing that, no matter what trailer you're pulling, the goal in doing that is that you can stand and see the sticker on your trailer and the sticker on your truck. So that just rolls into the sticker on the truck. Where is it almost always located?
On the frame.
Absolutely. On the frame of the tractor. Which side?
Driver's
Driver's
side.
side.
Driver's side. So you can stand and see both of them.
Nice.
Yeah, and that should be. Every day. What if what if the wash bay accidentally washed it off, or I don't know. You'd whatever. Every day you ought to glance. You got to make sure, especially if you're switching trailers.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Yeah, if you're a slip seater, pay extra attention because a guy that's in the same truck and trailer every day, he's not looking at that or she's not looking at that every day. They know it's good, but sometimes those caps come off on the trailer or something weird happened or something disappeared.
Right.
Like very strangely. So you're slip seating, that's definitely a good thing to check before you leave the yard. Because if you don't have it, we can print you another one.
Right.
Yep.
I wanted to touch exactly on what you said, Jim. I don't know. Over the last couple of months, I've noticed a couple of those tubes where the rubber end caps have gotten dry rotted and they don't stay on snugly. And so they've come off. And because we put the registration in and insurance form in a baggie so it stays dry. They've come out too because the rubber caps have come off on both ends. So if everybody could check and make sure those caps are snug and
not dry rotted.
Yeah, proper registration is inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so back up to the tractor, you guys, just to kind of finish up. So cab card registration, got to have insurance. That insurance will look just like what's in the trailer. And then you're going to have a fuel permit, IFTA card or, international fuel trade agreement, I think it is how it's stated. And basically most of the time the police officers don't ask for that because you have a sticker on each side of the truck and it's visually there. I know the new trucks, we just now got everything licensed. I don't know if JR's made it to all the trucks this weekend, but we got all new stickers when I got the license plates and stuff. So bright blue sticker on that red cab sticks out big time. Same thing. Maybe we had body damage. Maybe we painted one. Maybe the wash bay, washed it off or everything. But you guys all ought to have current IFTA stickers. You guys should know that. You should know what it's about, know where it's located. And be prepared that way. The conversation with the police officer or the state patrol or the port, you can look so much better if you know your job. It's your skill. It's part of what you should know. So let's make sure, especially traveling out of town, you guys. That's what a state patrolman's job is when he's out there is to protect and make his state better. And you got some truck, bright red truck, coming into the state without a state plates, which most places have out-of-state plates, right? They're trucks.
Sure.
But anyway, just have your shit together, basically.
Yeah, I mean, bad sign. Oops, sorry about that. Bad sign if you are getting pulled over and your paperwork's not in order, and that's the first thing that trooper sees is,
Yep.
wow, this guy doesn't even have his registration or
Right.
Know where it's at or fumbling
insurance,
for it. Or,
doesn't have the knowledge to know where it's at. Not a good start for you. That stop's probably not going to go very well.
No, not at all. And then the next thing, you guys, that covered everything, didn't it? On the truck registration
Did
and
we
stuff.
talk about heavy permits?
Yeah, overweight permits.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Dave. You want to?
And we need overweight permits.
If you have one. If you're running heavy, make sure you have a heavy permit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's definitely another thing. If you're changing trucks and you're slip seating, or you're
Right.
you're a seasoned vet and your truck has a heavy permit, but you're going into a newer person's truck who hasn't been issued a heavy permit.
Right.
Don't assume it's there and that you can run heavy.
Yeah.
That's again another thing to check before you leave, because if it's not in the book and you need it for the day, we could give it to you.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and then this probably just only leans out towards Casey, who runs our lowboy, but lowboy and drop deck primarily. We have had some other people fill in it, but he would be the only other one that would need a different oversize overweight permit.
Yep.
In addition to the regular overweight permit, it's a different.
Yeah, basically
permit.
divisible and non-divisible.
Yep.
Is what separates them. Yep.
Got it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and as far as going out of town, you guys, hopefully, Jam, because I haven't ran one, being the new Samsara, but you guys really need to be. To me, it's your log. I'm going to talk about logbooks, and I'm talking about the logbook in Samsara when you're running out of town. When you switch over to the Samsara app, I mean, obviously we've gotten rid of the paper and stuff. We're running stuff as close to the vest as we can, and that's all. It'll help with the next audit we have. We had an audit last year, and how we got through that and stuff. And these were some of the things that we did to make ourselves better, just like we're doing. But Jam just said it. If you can't even find your paperwork to start it, but if they ask for your logbook and you don't know anything about that app, man, shame on you guys.
Yeah.
And I know Jam helped me out. I know there's a piece in there where you have to be able to pull up the instructions for the app, right? Jam, that was one of the things.
Yeah, there's required onboard documents, or manuals, and it's all on your Samsara app, so we don't make copies and put it in every truck. You just pull it up on your app.
But you got to know in front of the officer or trooper where that is at, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
If you're going out of town and you've never been out of town, or if you're going out of town and you don't feel like you're an expert on the ELD, become an expert. Do a little homework on your own. Like learn the rules and the laws and what's acceptable and what's not. Because if you get out there and you don't know how to use it, you're just not going to look good. We're not going to look good, and you're probably going to get a ticket. So.
Yeah, and why get the ticket?
Yep.
Why?
Yeah, you're the ones. Yeah, we're sending you out of town, but you're the ones actually doing the work. So if you get with JR and he shows you how to use the app, or if you come see me and I get you going on the app, you still need to know how to use it. And if you think that running 5 minutes over or 10 minutes over is going to be okay, it's really not. I mean, we're not going to make you spend the night 30 minutes away from here because you didn't make it back in time. But at the same time, we need to be professionals and we need to run that thing the best we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, going into the port or being pulled over, that should be for a lack of a word, that should be a joyous occasion.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying by that is that trooper is just doing his job. Do your job.
Yeah.
Right.
Have a conversation. All your stuff's together. The trooper's going to go, good job.
Yeah.
He is. And everybody's going to go on their way. And everybody did their job.
Yeah, exactly. If you think about it, they probably run into a lot of people who don't have their shit together all the time.
All the time.
So when you're the guy that's doing it right, you will stand out for the right reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be thankful.
Yeah, thank you for having your act together.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So you need to be able to do three things on that app. Basically log your current day and time. You know what I mean? Which is just logging in and knowing when you need to have a break, what your maximum driving hours are, what your maximum on duty hours are, right? So that would be number one. Number two, you need to be able to download the directions,
Yep.
right? So if you get stopped, you have to know how to download or show the trooper your directions of how the app works.
Yep.
And then number three, you also need to be able to show him your logbook.
Right.
So,
Which is in the app and very easy to do.
right.
You know, they won't even want to look at you. Well, there's a few things. One, they may look at yours. Two, you may transmit it to theirs, right? But there's locks on your phones where all they could do is look at your logbook. They can't even look at changes or anything like that. They just see your current logbook. So it is important to know how to do all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So help us out, guys. Be truck drivers.
Yeah, the other thing too is we have a lot of out of town work right now, especially for the winter. You know,
Right.
we got this Utah run that sounds like it's going to go for a few years, and who knows what else. I mean, you gotta if you're gonna go out of town, that'll help you out this winter. That's for sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, and along those lines, you know, we're talking about out of state, in state stuff like that. I know we've ran that CMEX job, I think, a week and a half now. Last week was probably one of the full weeks on it.
Yeah.
So I think I've gotten two, not positive, have one sitting in front of me, but I have a red light violation in Boulder, and I know where those are coming from. Those are coming from the CMEX job. I don't think I've gotten one from the city of Boulder in I don't know how many years, because we just don't run through there anymore.
Right.
So we're running the minimum. Each truck's running, 4 to 5 loads a day? You know,
Yeah,
5
four
trucks on
loads,
it.
yeah.
So 20 loads, 25 loads, you know, whatever it might be. This is a year-long or more haul, you guys. And we've already got, like I said, I have one in front of me. I might be wrong, but we've already got 2 red lights we ran through in Boulder, and it's the camera,
Right.
you know, and camera doesn't lie. You guys, I mean, we pull up the videos. It's like our video camera. It's red when you go through it. And there's usually just no excuse. So please, you guys, we have to represent ourselves out there. You know, we got our brotherhood, our sisterhood, how people look at us, you know, all that kind of different stuff. So I'm bringing it up. I don't want to see any more tickets, you guys, the red light tickets, the electronic ones. So please.
Yeah, I mean, let's get a little political here, if Brother Dave doesn't mind, right? So we got our red trucks with Heidi Ganal and Joe O'Day stickers running through Boulder. Boulder is known to lean in the other direction. As a matter of fact, our governor lives in Boulder.
Yeah, he won't live in Denver.
Yeah, he won't live in Denver. He'll live.
Right. He'll
yeah,
tell Denver how to live, but he won't live in Denver.
Right. So,
Good guy.
you know, we could be, you know, we're definitely getting some attention in Boulder. You know, getting a red light ticket has nothing to do with anything, but we want to be on our best behavior out there and make sure we're doing the speed limit and we're stopping. And don't forget in Boulder, well, all of Colorado really, but Boulder, they make it a point. Pedestrians always have a right-of-way out there.
Oh, man.
You know, you could be cruising along and all of a sudden you got those flashing strobes in your face because somebody's getting ready to cross the sidewalk. So,
Yeah, there's just no reason on this haul to be in a hurry.
Yep.
It just, you know, be thinking of that stale light, do all that kind of stuff. Just do your job,
Do your job.
Always boils down to that.
right?
You going to open that one up so we could see who it is?
Yeah, let's break it open. I can tear it open right here.
And the winner is, yeah,
The winner is of the third license plate number.
Jam Backus.
are we going to read it on
Is
air?
it a
No,
Jeep?
we won't read it, but I will open it up because I'm
Is it a
curious.
picture of the Jeep?
Oh, it's a good picture. It's a truck without a Heidi Ganal sticker on the back.
Oh, that's funny.
Boy, we can't have many trailers like that, you guys.
Right.
So, yeah, we definitely. It's a good picture. Won't be.
That's funny.
Won't
That
be trying
wasn't
to-
me. Oh, this
Oh,
doesn't look like you? Oh, yeah, that was me.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. How about tarp motors, guys? Can we move on a little bit, or
Yeah.
you guys got anything else there?
No, I'd love to talk about the tarp motors. So, you guys all know these new tarp motors we have on the trailers are, as Brother Dave would call them, they're badass motors.
Badass.
They're basically winch motors that we put on our trailers to run our tarps. So they're very, very powerful. one of the problems that we've had recently since we've gotten these new motors, I mean, it's been over a year for sure, is the motors are so strong they will rip the bolts out of the bracket because of all the torque and power that they have. So when you're running your tarp motor to the front or to the back, once you get to that end, you can't just leave your finger on there because it doesn't stop on its own. You got to stop, otherwise it's going to keep trying to pull or to push, and you're going to rip those bolts out. Most recently, not only did the bolts rip out, but then the wire is actually ripped out from the motor itself, rendering that motor unrepairable.
It was junk, right?
Yeah, we can't do anything with that. To add to it, Mikey came to me at first and was like, hey, we just, junked a $600 motor. Well, it turns out with inflation and the way everything's going up in this world, those tarp motors are now over $950. So it's an expensive mistake to just not be keeping a really good eye on your tarp when you're running that in and out. A lot of guys will put a wire tie on that shaft that comes out so they can see that spinning. Other guys or girls will mark it with paint. There's ways to pay attention, but you could use a wire tie, you could paint it, you could do all these things. If you're not watching it, you're going to end up ripping the bolts out of the thing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of guys mention their CB jam. When you run the tarp motor, it back feeds into the squelch in the CB.
Yep.
So you get a real heavy squelch sound, and then the minute it stops, they know it's the motor stopped, right? So I just want to suggest also taking the tension back off of that. We talk about this all the time. The minute that motor stops and the tarp's all the way out, just give that switch a bump. Don't hold it. Just give it a bump and take the pressure back off of that on both directions. When you've tarped your load and it gets all the way to the gate and maxed out, when it stops, just give it a bump back forward. Like I say, don't hold it because you want that tarp taut or snug. And then the same thing when you roll it up in the nose. And all that does is take the tension off of the front of that motor where it's attached at the plate. I mean, it's just sitting there. It's a flexed muscle. You know what I mean? You can't flex your muscles for 12 hours or an hour, right? I mean, you can flex them once and stop, but that's it.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like if you've ever had a handle hammer come off, Dave, and you've slid it back on, and then you hit it, you smack it on the table, and it drives that back on. That's kind of where the motors are at too. If you leave all that tension on, every time we hit a bump, that motor is just slamming on the front of that bar, and it's tension. You've hit it because it's locked in that spot.
Yeah.
And the other thing, mentioned like the CB and the noise and stuff. I've heard a couple of people mention that they stop when they see it move. And I don't know if that's the motor move or the plate moves, and it can't take a whole lot to move that plate.
Right.
And that might be even too much, maybe we're just we're going to face this no matter what of ripping that out at a certain time. And if you guys can help us out, you just got to, when that's coming up to the front, and you think it's about to, you could stop a little early too,
right?
If you know where it's at. I don't know. We got a problem.
One reason that it is a problem is because guys will run their tarps in and out while the truck is moving.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim.
But if you're turning and you can't see that pulley, or you can't see the winch, or if you can't see something in your mirror and you've got your finger down on that and you're paying attention to the road, and maybe somebody called you on a CB, it's really easy to leave your finger on that button.
Yeah. Got to get it off. Yeah. Yep.
So.
Absolutely. So help us out, guys. The price of that is up another $250, $350. So let's not. And if anybody knows about winches or anything, Jeeps and stuff like that, when you fasten a normal winch to your vehicle, it's through the front of the frame, and it's usually in minimum like a 3/8 inch plate that you bolt down with 5/16 bolts, and then it's captured inside the frame and boxed in, that gives it so much strength to pull that vehicle. And these are the same exact motors hooked to some piece of tin that you slide open to adjust the size of the trailer you're putting it to. It's just it is not the same, great stuff, but not really the application I think that they were ever meant to be used for.
I mean, You would think with technology by now there would be some kind of safety switch, like a disconnect or.
Well, we used that. We had breakers, right? I mean,
We do still have breakers, but I mean they're
they're too late.
well, it's so funny, you guys. I mean, a breaker is almost like in case of emergency.
Right.
You know, a breaker on your house is only going to pop of one of two ways. Either there's an electrical problem and there's a short and it pops the breaker, right? Hence the term breaker.
Right.
Or it's really old and worn out and every time you go to use it, it breaks. Right? I mean,
Right.
You have to have one heavy duty enough to run that back, but yet not heavy duty enough to where it doesn't pop.
Right.
You know, and then we wound up, you know, years and years ago when we started with the electric tarps, you had to get out and reset that breaker. You had to like pull the battery box apart and move the little lever on it, and it was a nightmare. You know, now you just wait a minute, they reset themselves, they're auto resetting, and off you go if you do happen to pop the breaker.
Right. I'm thinking like you open a sunroof on your car. You hit the switch. Once the roof's open, it doesn't keep trying to open. It's
Right.
shut. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or even your windows or
Yeah.
something like that. You would think there would just be some kind of solenoid that kicks out.
Automated, right, Jim?
Yeah.
You know, but look, I mean, when we just had Clint from Utility Trailers on, how his big thing is we're entering the age now of I don't know, I'll say unification or whatever you want to call it, but where the truck is talking to the trailer.
Right.
You know, and we just haven't had that in the past.
Right.
So, you know, here we are, I'll say dirt haulers, we're pretty much the only ones who use tarps, and that's dirt haulers in general. It might be a grain trailer, it might be a side dump, it might be an end dump, but we're the only ones using that setup. So now we've got to try and go to the manufacturer and try and get the manufacturer to go, hey, this needs to be better. You know, look at the money we're spending on this. So, yeah, the whole thing it's difficult, expensive, and man, what a time sink. I mean, what our shop spends in repairing them and keeping them up to date. And, you know, yeah, it's easy for them to get frustrated also when we see one that I'll use the word feels like it's been abused.
Right.
When in actuality, you know, that was never the intent.
Yeah.
Sure.
It just happened, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what when Jam said. That's what I was thinking Saturday when I got that one email. Is, well, how would I have done it? How am I doing it? I drive and I push the button.
Yeah.
You know, but I can see the pulley. The last truck that I drove had a red spot on the pulley, and I'm thinking, well, I just watched for the red deal to quit spinning. You know, really easy to see, but I'm still holding the button until it stops, and then by the time I see it and I let off the button, is that too late? Or have I held the button too long?
Right.
You know, great idea, Dave, about bumping that back to take that tension off. You know, and
Because when you watch that, when it bottoms out, either all the way open or all the way closed, that whole tarp motor on the front flexes. And I guess to me, the analogy is you can't stand and flex your bicep for an hour and a half while you're empty or loaded. It's impossible. You can't hold that flexed. Sooner or later, you have to release the energy in that. And that's just my analogy to it. It's best just once you flexed it, stop, give it a bump back the other direction, take the pressure off, and it's just loose. It's free.
And that's what I was kind of trying to is if they're watching, well, when it moves and when it flexes.
Right.
And I feel like the flex is too late.
Right. Well,
Just imagine you're inside your house and you're closing your garage door, right? And it's coming down and it hits the bottom and it turns off. Imagine if you were holding a button that was making that garage door open and keep working.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, Jam, because you mentioned, you know, I open my sunroof on my car and I can hold the button and it doesn't do anything. We have an old truck. It's not old enough not to have electric windows up at our place at McConaughey. It's a 1990, but if you hold that button in the down position, it tries to keep rolling the window down.
Really?
Right? That motor's flexed in there. Same thing when you're running in the up position, but my pickup, it has the express windows on it in 2012. You hit the button and it goes up on its own, and the minute it tops out, it's closed. It stops.
Yeah,
right?
like a pressure switch.
Yeah. It doesn't. It has the technology.
Right.
The older one doesn't. Now, I guess that's my point in the technology in this. It's new technology that doesn't have any technology.
Right. Right.
I mean, the technology is your ass isn't having to do it by hand anymore.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You're letting your finger do the walking now instead of,
Yep.
you know, when the new tarps came out. I mean, Dave, you remember this, and Scooby and Jim and I out trucking, man. You ran to the edge of that trailer, and our Lufkins, it just had a crank handle right there at the right front corner. Man, you stood there and you cranked the shit out of that old bicycle chain going up. You were watching that tarp go back, and you got it all the way to the back. Or we had the tarps that went side to side like a side dump. So you had to go all the way to the back of the tailgate, undo that, let it flop down, and then crank it back over, to the top and lock it on the side, and then do the same thing, roll it all the way down and roll it back up and pinch it, and I don't know.
I bet those things never broke.
Oh my God.
Well, I tell you what, you couldn't push a load of grain with them, Jam.
Right.
I'll guarantee you that.
Right. You couldn't rip bolts out of the brackets using those.
Yeah. Something else. Yeah, when you mentioned like the sunroof, Jam, I kind of had to laugh because all I can picture is, in our case, the sunroof just keeps going and ends up in the trunk, and now you got a sun trunk going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave a little giggle just because he was talking about the speed windows or the auto.
The Express,
the
Express windows.
I just remember you. I'm going to use the word complaining, Jim, but like, how come the rear seats don't have that? How hard would it be to put express windows in the back seat?
Right. First world problems. But when because my pickup does have express windows, but some weirdly thing on the door, they just quit expressing every once in a while. And, you can open and close the door or drive for a week, and then all of a sudden the express
they're
comes
just working
back
again.
Yeah, and you're just like, wow, I really missed that. And I'm like, but how hard is that to hold that button?
Right.
Are we so spoiled?
Have you ever hit a bump on 270 and had them just, you're rolling it up and have them just stop and come back down again?
Not necessarily on a bump, Dave, but I've had them do that where you hit the button and they're rolling up and all of a sudden it just and is going right back down.
Yeah, like the pressure switch just goes, that's too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
I figured one of you guys would pull off that pickup truck joke that that little TikTok video.
The girlfriend one? That joke?
No, about the Ford, Chevy, and the Dodge.
Oh.
Figured one of you guys would be pulling that off pretty soon.
Yeah. No.
Well, we all have Dodges. Well, we all have Dodges. Be hard to make fun of a Dodge.
They do, and it's a funny joke, man.
It is.
It's all in the delivery for that guy. He does a very good job.
He does
that.
Job.
The comedian,
Yeah.
Well, you might as well tell it.
I don't. Without having it in front of me, I can't, Jam, because it needs to be read. Hopefully,
right.
I'll look at it.
I thought he started off because he's like, I started my first week of vacation, and he said I let my wife borrow my truck and she wrecked it, and he said it needed to go to the shop, and he goes, I don't know where the shop is. I drive a Chevy. Chevys don't go to the shop. He said, if I drove a Ford, I'd know where the shop was. And you're like, oh, man, he just slammed a Ford big time. And then he goes, yeah. He said, the minute I say that Ford joke, he said, those guys in the audience, they all fold their arms. They're like, my truck's badass. It says Super Duty on the back.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, the only thing I know that makes a Super Duty is my 3-month-old. You're like, oh, man. And he goes, yeah. He said, I was at a show a couple of weeks ago. And he goes, then some guy in the back stood up and said, but I drive a Dodge. And the whole audience almost simultaneously is like, oh, he must be on a budget.
Too funny.
Yeah, my joke that I know is way worse than that one.
Next on the list, no phone use at pits or plants. So we had a situation the other day. Driver lost a mud flap. The load operator was trying to raise him on the radio, and allegedly our driver told him, I'm on the phone.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I pulled some video. I couldn't see him on the phone, but no phone use at the pits of the plants. You're just asking for trouble. That's how we look bad.
Well, and you should be parked. You can use them there. Go be parked.
Right.
There's a place at every location. Go park and make your phone call.
Yeah, you're on the phone losing mud flaps and too busy to stop to talk to the load operator. That's a problem. That's not doing our very best, and we're not serving very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's customer service.
There's so many things wrong with that statement, Jam. Right. That means the person didn't get out, didn't sweep off the tailgate, didn't know the mud flap was gone, didn't try and get it out of the pile.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that, but yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
It always is when you're on the phone.
Yeah. I mean, the driver did get out and sweep his tailgate off, all while not wearing PPE. He did it while the trailer was coming down to save time, which I'm all in favor for. Set your trailer brakes and do that. But you could just tell he was in a super big rush, but it didn't get you anywhere.
Right.
Plus, you got another calling.
Yeah, speed kills.
Yeah.
Speed does kill.
Yeah.
Whether you're on the phone or not.
And then the last thing I want to talk about is together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. So, Super Dave, you fielded a complaint the other day. We had one of the mechanics come up to us, said he heard something on the radio that was racist.
Yes.
Profane, racist, not our culture.
Sorry, Jim.
CB radio,
okay.
Right?
Channel 23, CB.
Yeah, so
our channel.
Super Dave explained to him that, hey, you know what? We're right by the truck stop. Could be somebody's on our channel doing that stuff. And when I heard about it, right away, I just played things in my mind, and I just can't imagine one of our people doing that, just because I do feel like we have an amazing culture, and the people that are here are part of that culture. They're actually the ones making the culture. I just don't see that in anybody's character here, and I hope I'm right, but I felt confident that that was the case. So,
yeah, let's hope so. I mean, we've talked about it in other podcasts about being racial and different stuff like that.
Right.
And I am so against that. And you heard Dennis in his podcast, which he made me feel really good that Dad offered him a job and was one of the few people that he ran into it.
Right.
And I didn't even know that Dennis faced that through his life.
Yep.
I'm blind to that stuff, and it's a shame. And I hope nobody ever has to experience that.
Yep.
And be through that, because we're, you read the sentence, Jim.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to find out how quickly you could be asked to leave JFW, do something like that, because there's just zero tolerance. There's nobody at this table or in the steering committee or, a leader here that would say, hey, you know what, that's okay.
Right? There's just no room. There's no room.
Yeah. So, anybody else got anything?
And that was just on the CB. There was never.
It was random.
Okay.
Yeah. But supposedly a bunch of our guys jumped on the radio too, and were like, hey, you need to knock that off.
Good.
So whether it was one of ours, which I doubt or not, we had people stick up for the cause.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I got for the discussion, guys. You guys want to add anything else?
I don't have anything else.
No.
Jim? Yeah?
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Any question from the audience? Did we get any this week? Or?
No, nobody's got any questions. They know everything.
Okay.
But
I know Jimmy's is still hanging out there that I never had a chance to address last week, that I need to take some time and look into that.
Oh, actually, I do have a question from Oswaldo. I told Oswaldo yesterday, I was giving him a hard time, that he needed to help me. Actually, I put it on next week's, but we'll read it now. He had to help me come up with some questions from the audience and stuff, because I needed help. So he's like, let me think about it. And then he came up with this question for Jim and Dave White. And he said, I know Jim and Dave both got a lot more time ahead of them, meaning running JFW.
That's positive. Right? I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us coming, Elizabeth.
It's the big one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He said, but have they put any thought into who's going to run this place in 20 years from now? I thought that was a great question.
That is a great question. I think we're too busy running it right now to worry about it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we still have so many plans and growth and all that jam that there's
no end in sight right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's like plan B when we're still focused on plan A.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
there you have it.
I would have to just answer that too, Jam, as it would be, because I don't think many of my girls will, ever be interested at this point in their life and their careers. I can't answer for Sam yet. He's on an engineering path, which will lead him in a different direction. But, it also, in Oswaldo's case or anybody's case, that growth around here is so slow. And, time goes by so fast when we celebrate like a 5-year or a 10-year guy, or Dave's 30 years and stuff like that. But I guess I would always hope if we had somebody to run it, that there would be somebody that stepped up through the years that really had a passion for it, and that's a passion for everything. That's leadership and driving and learning but that's not an easy road, Jim. No. And I think of my kids and stuff, and I think I don't really wish this on anybody,
right.
To keep running it. Not that it didn't give, hasn't provided a hell of a living for me and Dave and other people in our family, and including the employees' families and stuff, Jam. But this is not easy,
right?
And hopefully there's something else. But what is easy? If you're successful at it, I don't know anything that is short a bunch of hours.
And who wouldn't want to do this? I mean, it's great hours.
Right. I love working here.
24/7.
Well, it's like half a day.
Yeah, 12 hours.
Right?
Yep. So Oswaldo.
I mean, the biggest struggle is moving the gold from my house to Dave's house.
Yeah,
right. Oswaldo, it sounds like you'll be running JFW. So keep up the good work.
Yep.
Yeah, good question, though.
Yeah, that was good. Well, let's just give away some more money. That sounds like fun.
Sounds awesome. Let's go with 1856. Change it up because I just like the 1856. So
okay.
1856.
Sounds like
historical.
a Yellowstone episode.
Yeah, 18
or series.
New movie.
1856.
Yeah, 1856.
Hey, that's out this weekend, right?
Yep.
Premiere.
Yeah, the premiere.
This Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
You're gonna
that
have
on?
to
2-hour premiere.
Isn't it kind of? What? I'm sorry, Jam.
Paramount Network.
Is it on Paramount?
Paramount Plus.
I don't have Paramount. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I got Peacock. That's what I got.
I'm gonna have to wait for the DVD.
Yeah, they had a half-hour kind of introduction thing this weekend on regular network TV.
Yeah,
where it was behind the scenes when they talked to all the stars, and oh boy, it got me primed. I'm really excited.
You're pumped, huh?
Yeah, they talked about how one of the cowboys actually bought a place in Montana because he loved working there, and he's like, this is the most beautiful place in the world. I went out and bought a house here. But everybody was so just taken back by the beauty, by how lucky they were to be on the show and to experience this. And they all get really, really good, like, cowboy coaching, on how to ride and how to rope. I mean, they're doing that even though they aren't really cowboys, but it's very cool.
I just saw a deal, Dave. Those are every one of the horses on that show are Taylor Sheridan's horses.
Yep.
Who's that?
He's the director or writer of the show. He created it.
He created
it and writes it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he said anybody can make a bad Western. He's like, everybody can make a bad Western. He said, that's the easy part, right? And he said, what he always noticed in the Westerns is he said they could never ride a horse. And he said, I thought there was no way I would put on a show. And he makes every actor go through I don't want to say a riding lesson, but training. Rider training.
Yeah, these trainers are on set.
Yeah.
Like advanced training.
Yeah, exactly.
You can ride or you're not on the show.
Right. And one thing they did say, too, the production value, they want to be second to none on television. In other words, how realistic everything looks. When somebody gets shot, it looks like they get shot, And, and the extent that they go to achieve that is it's motion picture quality. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because the clip I seen, he becomes governor. And it's kind of funny that we have a governor race going on.
He wins the election.
Comes out this weekend.
Yeah, we were scrolling. My wife got excited. She's like, oh, Yellowstone. And we go back, and it's like the Yellowstone fan club. We're not watching that.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So. There's I can't think of her name. What's that new song out, Jim? The Stay in the Truck song?
Yeah.
It's a duet with, I can't think of either one of those.
Yeah, I can't either now.
Anyway, she's part of the duet. Man,
she's gonna be on the show.
Well, she's been on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
she's an actress on it, and I didn't know that. I just glanced at the cast, and I didn't see anything while you guys were talking.
Lainey Wilson?
Yeah, that's
Lainey
it.
Wilson,
Lainey Wilson.
yeah.
So she's a country singer, and I believe she plays a part in season 4 with the one character who tries to leave the ranch, and they don't actually kill him. He's probably the only one that they didn't kill, and then he comes back.
Oh, that one. Oh, I almost cursed. That one little. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the beard, the black beard, skinny cowboy guy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He's
He was
back in
chasing-
season 5. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
yeah.
He was on the show
back,
last night.
He came back
Yeah.
in season 4 when he goes to the bar and winds up singing with that one girl. That's Lainey Wilson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because do you know that, oh my gosh, Dave, like you and the names, who's the star of the show?
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. His band does a lot of the music.
Oh, really?
On the show? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny. My mother-in-law was it last year or the year before? She was just at some festival there in Green Valley, Arizona. And she was like, look who's singing at this concert I'm at. And she's like standing right below him
Kevin
at
Costner.
a Kevin Costner concert. And she had no clue who he was. She's like, I can't remember this guy's name, but I think he's famous. Like, wow, man,
Yeah,
you're standing right there with Kevin Costner.
I had no idea that he had a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, her character name is Abby on the show.
Okay.
Yep. So
Yeah, Lainey
Cool.
Wilson. That's a cool song, Stay in the Truck.
I think I heard it.
Yeah, it's about abuse. And yeah,
Well written.
it's an amazing song.
Huh. Maybe we'll play it. Safety topics of the week. Number 1, get out and look. Get out and look, get out and look. Reason that's on there is we had a backing accident in the red lot because the driver did not get out and look, not one time, but 2 times. Okay?
Right.
If you're backing up and you can't see and you're not 100% sure that you got it, get out and look. Or set yourself up for a straight backing situation.
Right.
Yeah, I'll just ask Jam how we doing on time, because I know today we're going to try to do 2 of them, right? Pre-recorded is what we're doing,
Yep.
and we're going to send this one's pre-recorded for Wednesday, and then we're pre-recording another one for next Wednesday. So
Correct.
not to keep going here, but the get out and look and stuff here on this. I mean, are we okay on time? Because I can.
It's 8:15. I mean, I got all day. I got a meeting at noon.
Well, I'm I'm off at noon. No, I'm kidding. I guess to get out and look, you guys, it's we ended up letting the driver go.
Yeah.
On the accident. I want to just talk briefly about that.
Sure.
And I love the guy. I mean, I had great conversations with him. He's friends of the family. Met him several years ago at a party. This was his second career, and really, really wanted to try to keep him. And you guys don't know what a struggle it is when we get together and have to talk about letting somebody go. And we try to go over all aspects, how long's he been driving? What's he, we get it down to, or I say he, but it should be he or she,
Yeah.
but their attendance record and, call-ins and
Attitude.
and we try to roll it up into one big ball. Will they learn from this and different stuff? And this was, 3 accidents in 6 months. And the Jam just mentioned it. The other one was that on this accident, he pulled forward, thought he cleared it, didn't get out, backed into it again, and that choice was just made over and over and over, leading us that he's making the wrong choices. This isn't the career for you, but this is like us playing God to somebody's career and
To their livelihood.
livelihood. But we have to take into account everybody's livelihood here,
Right.
and what that means. And when you can't make corrections, we're forced to make them for you. Is that a good way to talk about it? I just want to talk, because people come and go here, and I know we've been. What happened to that guy? Where'd that guy go? Or you just fire about. How come we keep hiring people? Stuff like that, and because we have to, but it's not like we don't give an opportunity here. We reevaluate. We had a couple accidents last week. One was I think there was ended up being a fire truck coming up behind him and was in an accident zone and trying to get out of the way, and it was a quick decision. But we also went back and recapped that this person is here every day. They're on time. Hadn't had any accidents till this point.
Never had an accident.
In 2 years, though, too, not 6 months.
Yeah, in 2 years, right, you guys?
And then the severity of the accident was very minimal.
Still an accident, but that person's also hard charging, and we read him the riot act.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there is no choice to ever happen again. And I guess I want to make that a little bit of the discussion that is not easy. So the reason we have this conversation, have this podcast, is to bring light so that when you're backing up, if you're not 100% sure, you just get out and look.
Yeah. If your stomach is telling you, this doesn't feel good, set your brakes.
Yeah.
Man, if your eyes are telling you, is my thing, Jim, if you can't see,
Right.
you got to get out and look.
Yeah.
How are you backing up if you can't see?
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm just going to back up.
I seen him do it at the truck stop.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole thing. Because I've backed in so many times. We've all backed in so many times. Yeah, I'm good, or I know I'm good, but what does it cost to pull up and get straight so you can see? Nothing, right? Nothing. And then the amount of time compared to sitting in a meeting and possibly being let go, but then having to restart your career over and find something and go through the embarrassment, or, even if we do keep you in your position, all the problems and the feelings, if you care at all, what did that, just pull up and look.
Yeah.
You're right. Or get out and look.
Yep.
Maybe you don't have the ability to pull up and look, but you have the ability to get out and look.
Dave, that reminds me, the new trucks that have all come in, I bet they need to get out and look stickers on the mirrors. That just now.
Yeah, we haven't put any on those.
Just now hit me. Yeah, get out and look stickers need to be put on the mirrors. Yeah, it's funny. We have that get out and look sticker on our mirrors, and I just passed a competitor's truck the other day that runs a lot of side dumps, and of course they were going down the road pulling a side dump, and the height of my pickup, and they were in a Volvo, and I was able to look right at the mirror, and it just said tarp ? I was like, I bet they've rolled over and dumped a tarp or two.
Yep.
Dumped on a tarp or two on those side dumps.
Yep. Jim, you mentioned it. I got to say that's a Mike Bortz quote. Pulling up is free. Backing into something is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Good old Mike Bortz. He tells his trainees that when he is training.
Yeah. Yeah. It is so true. I guess that's when you're looking at letting that gentleman go, that was the decisions he was making also that we had to look at. That this is the second time and he's third time.
Yeah, third. Yeah,
and still didn't get out and look. So that decision making isn't the best. And again, we made a decision for him, which is I don't know. It just bothers me.
Wasn't a feel good.
No,
I get it.
No, and we have that little, it's not a saying, I was trying to say what it is, but we talk about, and you asked me this morning, Dave, and we were talking about a situation is, tomorrow morning, the headlines are made, today, and the New York Times writes about all the news today, and the headlines come out tomorrow, and we've made a decision like letting this person go. Do all the readers, are they cheering about the decision JFW made, or are they booing it? And that's where I want to get to is that's how we try to look at this.
Right.
But let's say some people boo it, that no, you let that guy go, he lost his job. But what if there's somebody standing between the two trucks? What if it's in another situation and a life is lost or something like that?
Yeah, what if he ran into your car 3 times on 3 separate occasions?
Yeah, somebody's going to be cheering, right?
Right.
So, yeah, tough calls.
Yeah, good dude, though. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Next on the list, JR wanted to talk about the accident mitigation on a new truck. So pretty cool technology. If you are approaching stop traffic ahead of you or slow traffic ahead of you, the new trucks are actually going to slow you down. What JR has been running to on Samsara, watching the videos, is they'll be like, this is an example. You're following a car, the car's making a right-hand turn. You know the car's going to be out of your way by the time you get to it.
Timing.
The timing, yeah. You're not hitting the brakes quick enough, or you're not hitting them.
Yes.
Well, the truck's hitting the brakes for you. You know, so yeah, you may feel like that car is going to be gone, but the sensor doesn't know that.
I'm laughing, Jem, because my 2012 doesn't have accident mitigation, but last night it did because the wife was riding with me.
Oh, jeez.
And I had that exact scenario, right? I was watching the car turn. It was getting out of the lane. And I mean, it was just one of those timing things. Like I was too close based off the accident mitigation, right? You know what I mean? And it was just an interesting conversation her and I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like Lauren and Paco, what they were talking about last week.
Yeah. Sometimes,
Well, I think I'm Lauren in this situation, and Janet was Paco.
yeah, I'll be driving down the road, and all of a sudden, my wife will be like, and that scares me. You know,
Right.
like,
Right.
what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, that car up there stopping.
And then I say, you're going to get me in an accident.
You know what? I've been in that situation before, and it used to bother me, not so much with my wife, but whoever's driving with me. But I learned, don't say anything, because maybe one day they're going to not.
Absolutely.
Maybe you're really not paying attention, and you need that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually, sorry.
Yeah, I would just never want her to not say anything,
Yeah,
and I
right.
would just rear end somebody,
Right?
So.
Then you'd be looking at her going, why'd
Why
you
you
let me
say-
do that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say anything?
This is your fault.
Yeah, because usually your first reaction is to hit the brakes,
Right.
Yes.
And it's been years, but me and Dave were together, and we were pulling out to an intersection, and Dave was really intent, looking both ways, looking a lot of traffic and stuff like that. And he looked this way and just started to let off the brakes. And a guy walked from behind a building. We were in an alleyway, he walked from behind the building into the front of Dave's pickup and was looking the other way. And I was like, Dave, and he did hit the brakes. And I'm like, sorry, dude, that guy, he's like, I didn't see him, and
Right.
but in that situation, that's the way it worked, and for the guy to come out like that, and I was, like I said, I'm like, sorry, and Dave's like, you can yell at me 100 times a day.
Yeah, you're
for
telling
that.
me sorry, but you just saved somebody's life. But
Right?
You don't have to say sorry
and-
to me.
Yeah. And that little rear ender I had this summer, I would have loved somebody to, Jim, stop.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Speaking of accidents, we had an accident right here in front of our fuel aisle, right in front of the driveway the other day. Driver was turning left into the driveway, and an impatient four-wheeler tried to get around him. We ended up colliding vehicles together. She basically hit us, is the way I'd like to describe it. But
Absolutely.
man, she just caught our bumper with the side of her car, and it kind of can opened her a little bit. And
Jack the car up.
yeah, but she was convinced this is your driver's fault. And I'm just like, okay, well, we'll pull the video. We'll just give it to the police, and we'll let them decide, because I'm not going to sit there in front of JFW and argue with her.
Right.
Mike, actually, I took Mike's book from him, separated those two. It wasn't real tense or anything, but yeah. But yeah, she was convinced, and then we waited, and then we waited. Then Mike waited, and then Mike waited. Denver PD came out to Commerce City. They're like, we don't know why we're here.
That was just crazy. Jim told me that this morning, that Denver PD showed up.
Yeah.
How did they even get wind of it?
The dispatchers called them. They got dispatched, and then they got here. They're like, no, this isn't Denver.
Right.
But the point I wanted to make up as we're waiting, the girl's like, oh, well, my dad will be here soon. Her mom shows up first. They live right here in Commerce City. Then her dad shows up, and just watching the trucks pull into the yard, 99.99% of the trucks had their blinker on, turning in. Most of them were looking really good coming into the yard. It just looked like a class act. Like, guys are coming back. We're getting fuel. It was just like business as usual. You saw a couple four-wheelers try to get around us a couple times and then have to slam on the brakes.
Right.
So it was obvious, like, she could probably show her dad, you see, that car almost did it too. But if you looked at our trucks, we were all doing a nice job coming in.
Right.
So
Yeah. And Mike did a nice job. You look back on the video.
Yeah.
He kind of glanced behind, turn signals on. He's looking in the driveway to see if anybody's in. He starts the movement really slow. And this car, I mean, I don't know how fast she was going, but to pass somebody that's making a left.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
felt like she was doing 15 or 20 miles an hour.
oh, at least, Jim. Yeah, at least, and to go around it. And I know how many. I mean, I've seen over the years how many times our guys have to slam on their brakes because somebody goes around them. And like you're saying, it's you have your four ways on. You go from your four ways to turn signal, but I've watched our guys really look like I'm about to move. And Holly brought up a good thing too. Is she goes, in that situation, the other car should have just been creeping.
Right.
Anybody that I've seen that passes us out there that knows this is where we're turning in, they usually just ease past us.
Yep. Friendly beep of the horn. A couple little toots.
Yeah, you don't have to hold on the horn. You know what I mean? It just people can.
But
do
that's our world.
Right.
Yeah, but people.
I mean,
can do
a
so much
four-wheeler's
together.
never going to know what the horn is for, Jam. You know what I mean? Think about it. I mean, could you imagine that in a Costco parking lot? little tap of the horn. I mean, I was there Saturday night, and I don't know how there's not like just shootouts everywhere from between people walking across the crosswalk, and the one up there in Larkridge. There is no crosswalk. It's like a cross area. You know what I mean? There is no like guided area where they're all going to cross in one spot because it's a free for all for whatever row they're parked in, and they're pushing carts down the aisles, and it's a mess, and I don't know how to get that message out other than to continue not saying that Mike did anything wrong because he didn't. He did zero wrong in that situation, right? But just to continue to talk to our people. To go, man, you got to watch out for this. Yep. You got to watch out for this.
Triple look.
Yeah,
Look again, and then look one more time.
And at that speed, I still don't think Mike could have done anything.
No.
You know what I mean? And again, there is zero towards Mike in this. I'm just
Right.
The only way we can police it is from our side.
Yep.
We'll never teach the public that.
Do you know the cause of that crash, Brother Dave?
Yeah,
What?
speed.
Speed right?
kills.
So that girl was in a rush.
Mm-hmm.
She sat out here till 8:30, quarter to 9 p.m. It happened at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My last text to Mike Bortz was at like 8:15 or something like that the cops finally came.
Wow.
So,
4 hours.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you, Mike. I hope you put your time down, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I caught him Saturday, Dave.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Sorry for that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Jim also told me, and obviously you guys were here, I wasn't, but it set off the side curtain airbags in that car.
Yeah. Yeah. I was standing out in the back with Jason Gamage and we're talking, and I was like, did you hear that? What was that? And I look, and the car's gone.
Yeah.
And I see Mike Bortz out there, and I'm like, did he just blow an airbag? And then all of a sudden we see the car come back, and the side curtains are down.
And it was that kind of boom, was it? Not Jam like an airbag went.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a boom, Dave. I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm still like in
So
disbelief.
Cool. So cool, though. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just that, Jim and I witnessed a rear end accident. We were in stop and go traffic, and the car in front of us, you could just tell they weren't focused. It was a husband and wife, and they had a couple kids in the back, and they were just on another planet, man. And, every time they would stop in this stop and go traffic, we're like, oh, they're not going to stop. Oh, they're not going to stop. And then last minute they stop, right? And about the seventh time of that, they didn't stop. And they just plowed into this car in front of them, And you're just, I mean, you as a passenger in another vehicle are just waiting for the accident, right? I mean, we read it like a book. And sure enough, this woman plows into the car in front of him. And luckily, when I say plowed into, it was, 20 miles an hour, maybe 30 tops, Jim, something like that.
I think it was enough to make a radiator leak, though, wasn't it, Dave?
Well, it blew all the airbags,
Was it?
remember?
Did
Because
it-
my
did
point
it
of the
blow that?
story is
Yeah.
that when they stopped, they threw open both the doors.
Oh,
and
the
it
white-
looked like a Cheech and Chong movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
white
just
powder.
all this
That's
powder
what it was.
like is going out of the car, and they're all white. She had to like dust off the kids in the back.
Oh, man.
And she's like, did you see that? That guy just stopped out of nowhere. And it's like, you lean out and there's like 150 cars in line in stop and go traffic.
Wow.
It's like, that car didn't stop out of nowhere. Are you,
Your
and
car.
I
Your
looked
car
at her.
stopped out of
I'm
nowhere.
like, well, that's not what I'm going to tell the police when they show up,
Right. man.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Too funny.
Then they got to arguing. That was an argument between the two of them. Why didn't you say something? And she hit her husband. Her husband was like, "You're the one driving. I was looking at my phone."
Yeah, it's so weird just like driving the Ram, just because that's the vehicle I'm used to the least, and it's the windows are super dark, and you don't know where everything's at, and it's like I almost roll my windows down when I make turns just so I could see better. I'm like, I don't know what the f***'s going on. So.
I totally do anymore, Jam. It's the older I get, the harder it is in the dark with the tinted windows, man.
It is definitely an age thing.
Yeah, you even said it the other day. Like your worst nightmare is just running somebody over by accident.
Yeah, in the dark. Yeah, because I told these guys when I stepped in Saturday, I'm like, you know what my biggest fear is? And they all like looked at me like I'm going to have something profound, and it's just like not running over somebody that's dressed in all black that I can't see walking down the side of the road. Yeah.
Soup.
You've
been pretty quiet.
Yes.
You want to hit us with a high road hauling?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this one's going to be great. I got a good one. I got a good feeling about this.
I was working on it last week because I knew we were going to do this today, but it was just something that Dennis's podcast made me think of, right? So this one here is about the American dream.
Ooh.
What is the American dream? Okay, do you think that Dennis's family, because I think he said he came over from Guatemala when he was...
El
Salvador, sorry, when he was 13, right? Yeah. And I know Serge, his family came over from Russia when he was 11. So they all had some sort of American dream going on. Let's go to America, right? So the American dream is the belief that anyone, regardless of where they were born or what class they were born into, can attain their own version of success in a society in which upward mobility is possible for everyone. The beginnings of the idea of the American dream can be traced to the founding fathers, who declared their independence from England because of their belief in unalienable rights. Those men believed the people inherently possessed the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They created a country where people could break free from class restrictions and pursue the life they chose despite the circumstances of their birth. In time, writers dubbed this idea the American dream. But people's definition of the American dream has changed greatly over time. The term American dream is often traced back to James Truslow Adams, a historian and author. In 1931, as Americans suffered through the Great Depression, Adams wrote a book called The Epic of America, in which he spoke of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement, regardless of fortuitous circumstances of birth or position. In the beginning, the American dream simply promised a country in which people had the chance to work their way up through their own labor and ingenuity. Immigrants fled the entrenched class restrictions of their homelands for the United States in the hope of obtaining land and gaining religious and other freedoms. After World War II, men returned from the war with a new American dream in mind. Americans fantasized about homes filled with happy families who vacationed every summer, had 2 cars filling a garage, television sets, and college educations for their children. The American dream transformed into something different from what it once was. Then, with the advent of credit, people could buy more without saving whenever they wanted. Today, the middle class is shrinking, and the ability to achieve the new American dream is evaporating. In fact, some people are saying the American dream is dead. Don't tell that to people on the outside looking in. Tens of thousands try to come to America every year for the chance to achieve the American dream. In their homeland, there is no such thing as freedom. The ability to work hard and earn your dream doesn't exist. They are not allowed to make choices that lead them towards greater success. Oppression, fear, and arbitrary force make them submit to whatever they are told. In this way, the original American dream, the one our forefathers envisioned, to create a country of the people, by the people, for the people, who have the liberty to live their lives as they want, to pursue their dreams, to work hard, and achieve anything they put their mind to. This dream is alive and well. So when you ask someone, how's it going? And they answer sarcastically, living the dream, maybe you should just remind them that they really are. And the vast majority of people in the world would love to do just that, but can't. And the quote this week, you guys, is a great one. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. By Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome, Dave. Yeah. You know, Veterans Day is not obviously today, next Monday.
Oh, is he?
I know we're recording this early, so our days and our conversations and everything are a bit tweaked, but, you know, that's our freedom didn't come for free. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? A lot of human beings have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms.
Yep. Yeah, just reading that part at the end, I started getting all choked up. I mean, it's tough. People don't realize what it's like to be an American.
Right.
They take it for granted.
Right. You know, isn't that anything, though? Don't, after a while, you inherently take things for granted?
You become entitled.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's as easy as that express window.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And
I love that Ronald Reagan quote. I actually have that on a Grunt style shirt. It's pretty cool. Yep. Cool. Let's give away our final $100.
Final 100. I don't know what I've done with my list, Jam. All right, here we go. 1053. 1053 or 1053 is the final number.
Oh, yeah. Good luck, everybody. Hope your number was called and hope you are listening to this podcast.
Yep, absolutely.
Final thoughts, everybody?
I can jump in.
Closing arguments.
Yeah, lead off.
Closing arguments. Yeah.
Dave, I got to jump in there before you start off, Jim, because, you know, I'd mentioned it to a couple people, but I got put on jury duty, and of course I got selected. That seems to be like my favorite thing. It wound up being a total of 4 days. It was Monday through last Thursday. And it was funny because after going through the whole process, they got to where, like, I thought closing arguments were going to come. Yeah. And they stopped. And I'm like, what the heck? I need Jim in here. There's no closing arguments, you know. And then it happened to be a weird marker of where the judge had to stop us for a certain point on Wednesday. Actually, on Wednesday. And then we came back and heard closing arguments. Huh. And it was kind of interesting. It was kind of like that case we went through, or not the case, but how we tried to appeal with Adams County, Jim. Mm-hmm. You could get up there. You had X amount of time to make your statement. Then the prosecution, this is actually the defendant, that he could get up there and make a statement. But it starts off, let me rewind a little bit because that was confusing. The prosecution starts off, they make their case, they make their closing arguments. Then the defendant has one opportunity to get up there and make his closing arguments, or his lawyer or her lawyer or whatever. And then the prosecution can actually get up and rebut that. Huh. So the prosecution gets two chances, and the defendant only gets one.
Wow.
And I found that so interesting. I didn't remember that from the last court case that I was on like 20 years ago, but this one was very interesting. It was, yeah.
So did you guys vote unanimously? Did you?
You know, Jam, it was unanimous relatively quick.
Was it?
And it kind of sucked. It was a rape case.
Right.
And it was with a 12-year-old girl. And man, it was just heartbreaking, but there was like zero evidence. You know, there were things that went on that had zero proof. You know what I mean?
That's
you
crazy.
know the thing how we love about our cameras.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't know what happened. I didn't notice that. And
Here it is.
look at the camera. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, there
sure.
it is. Right. And it man, there was just zero evidence. So yeah, I mean, we all agreed unanimously about in an hour and a half. And it's kind of funny because we kind of did a pre-vote just to see where we were all at. And all of us but two were like, we can't find this guy guilty.
Right.
You know, and the two people that didn't vote, you know, as we walked through it and spoke through everything, we were able to not convince them. They just came to it like,
Right.
yeah, you're right. I mean, and you know what's cool is our court system is set up. You have this list. Was this proven, within a reasonable doubt? I always said beyond the shadow of a doubt, but it's reasonable doubt is how they state it. And then the next checklist is like, was this proven beyond a reasonable doubt? And there's about 6 stages of that.
Right.
And we didn't get to any one. We couldn't prove it on any one.
Right.
So it sucked. It was not a feel good go home after
Yeah,
4 days vested into it.
Right.
It was not a feel good, but yet you felt like it was the right decision based upon the facts. Because, if this guy was innocent, which we couldn't prove whether he was guilty or innocent, but could you imagine screwing up 2 lives?
Right.
And that was our thing. And then, I kind of threw out there just because of going through all of this, what we do here at work with like accident committee or our steering committees or whatnot, I threw out there because everybody was like, oh yeah, right. We don't want to screw up 2 lives. And I'm like, but what if we're wrong? And this guy's going to go do this to 6 more people before he gets caught again. And everybody's eyes got real big. And I'm
Thanks, Dave.
yeah, right. And I just said, we have to think of those things, but we have to do the right thing.
Right.
Yeah,
And
total is opposite. You're going to put a guy away for however long that didn't do it, Dave?
right.
I mean, holy smokes.
Right, yeah.
That burden.
Yeah.
That sucks, though, because what I'm hearing is maybe in your heart you felt like he might have done it.
What was interesting in that case, Jim, I'll say no to that.
Okay.
I will say no to that just so you don't leave with that impression. The guy never took the stand. He was never a witness.
Huh.
How come there wasn't any DNA? I thought that was standard procedure nowadays.
Right, Dave? Well, that's one of the oddities of the case. She didn't even come out with it happened until 2.5 months later.
Oh.
So there were, I mean, I won't go into it on air just
Right.
because there's a lot of
We got to go.
gruesome details, right? Not in my closing arguments, but I will let Jim continue with his closing arguments now.
Is this my second time or my first time, right? Because is the first time really closing arguments?
Right?
I thought it was final thoughts.
Yeah. Or are we back? Or is that just a rebuttal?
Pre-final thoughts.
Pre-final
thoughts.
Right. So again, you guys, Super Dave, you lined up so well with my closing thoughts. And Jam's mentioned him before, but Jocko Willink ran across a deal on his stuff this morning, and he says, while discipline and freedom seems like they sit on opposite sides of the spectrum, they're actually very connected. And I was thinking, okay, so freedom and discipline, what was he talking about? Like your kind of freedom, Dave, that you're talking about there in America and what it affords us and stuff like that. And I can link them together pretty easily. But in an everyday application, create a life that is disciplined by creating a routine, prioritizing your work, and being focused. This will lead to working in processes and shorter time spent trying to get things done. This will open up to more free time. Being disciplined enough to do the work to follow your passion and dreams will make also your life feel so much more free. And you think about when you go and do something, and anything in my life, I try to better it once I've learned about it, and not necessarily a shortcut, but how can I do this process better? Even when we're buying trucks or looking at mounting or dismounting a tire or putting a rear end in or delivering someplace in a location, was this way shorter? Can I time this light? How do I do that? And I guess I've never thought that all those things add to my free time, my freedom, and when people come over here and they create a better life, Dave, it's because we have better processes and it creates a freedom for them.
Right.
And the freedom could be from anything: prosecution, government, maybe just a bad life, maybe a person being raped at some point, Dave, and changing their life. So I guess everybody, it's the same thing backing up. I can take this little deal and I can apply it to anything. As you practice backing up, what did it free for you? What did it free up? And so everything. Maybe it's not doing things faster. Maybe it's just doing things better, and it frees something up.
I remember we had a driver, I can't remember who it was, but he told me, because he was having problems with attendance, and then he fixed that, and he said, when things are better for me at JFW, things are better for my life. Mm-hmm. You know, so when he's coming to work on time and doing it, and the money's there and stuff like that, it just, the stability helped
Right.
that person. So
That was pretty recent too, wasn't it, Jam?
last year.
Yeah.
So anybody else? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to touch on that. It's our right to get out and vote. That's one of the hallmarks of our freedom. So everybody go on and make sure they get to vote, right?
Have today and tomorrow, right, Dave?
Right.
Well, this airs Wednesday, so you needed to vote Monday or Tuesday.
Well, I hope you did. How about that?
Yeah,
There
hope
you go.
did,
I hope
right?
you
That's
voted.
Part
Yes.
of being free, and you've earned it by being an American.
Yeah.
Yes, and the only way you can make change is to vote.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was within the last couple of weeks. So I get these little history things on my phone every day. But the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square in China was just recently. Wow. So these people were trying to voice their opinions and their thoughts on something. I don't remember what it was exactly. Might have been freedom. I can't remember. And then the government came down on them with tanks and killed like 400 people in Tiananmen Square, you know. So we have to feel just blessed that we live in America and we have these freedoms, that we can voice our opinions, we can vote for our leaders, and live the dream.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I think it's awesome, Dave, because that was my final thoughts on voting. You know, or not voting, but election day. Since this podcast is coming out the day after elections, we won't know who wins, or right now we don't know who will have won. I guess that's how you say it, right? Since we're pre-recording, but anyway. I mean, no matter what, Jim mentioned early in the podcast, Linda's been a rock star through this process because it seems like she's answered the good and the bad phone calls. I know there are some drivers out there that said the transportation route through Boulder's a little rough with all the Ganal stickers. They've been given quite a few single fingers running through there, is my understanding, which I guess I just want to thank everyone. Both Jim and I want to thank everyone for putting up with that. We hope we're able to make a change and maybe sway some people's minds. I feel like the positivity that has come out of it was much greater than any negativity that has come out of it. Mm-hmm. Again, the polls, the odds were stacked against us. When I say stacked against us, the people that we had the signage on the trailers for. So when I say that, I just mean, those are the people we chose to be behind.
They were the underdogs, Dave, going into this.
Yeah, they were. They were. It's so interesting. You drive all of Colorado and you think we're a Republican state. You really do because of the signage. You go anywhere east of once you're east of I-25 or west of I-25 beyond, I'm going to say 20 miles. I'm just going to pick that number. If you're 20 miles east or 20 miles west of I-25, it's pretty much a red state.
Right.
But this corridor, between, and I'll say between like the size of Boulder and Denver, there are just that many people. It's that dense that it's just not a red state. It's just not. So it used to be, and those things are changing. So anyway, I want to thank everyone that voted. I hope we were able to make some change. Appreciate anyone that had to deal with any vulgarity. I know I ran into Dale last week. He said he was making a delivery at I want to say an ice rink somewhere, and had a woman in a parking lot just blow up on him.
In Boulder.
Yeah. And he was like, whoa. He said it was all he could do to restrain himself not to go off on her. And, those aren't the things we put that on the tailgates for, or the trailers for, everybody. Right. That is not what we wanted. That is not our intention. We don't want to be that company. We don't want you guys or gals to have to deal with that. And I guess my apologies, or Jim and I's apologies if you had to. So thanks everybody for playing along.
Yep. Super Dave said it earlier. It's your right to get out and vote. I'm going to say get out and look. Avoid that back accident.
Nice.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's wrap up with the creed.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Together we
Face and overcome all that stands before us. Together we are accident-free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. And together we are the JFW family.
All right.
Thanks,
See everybody
everybody.
next
Thanks,
week.
guys.